So, as promised, I'm going to do a movie review on The Sound of Freedom. Let's talk about it. Hello, everyone. This is Keith. Welcome to the Ghetto Sapien channel, your home of inner city intelligence. So, I watched the movie last night in the movie theater, and it was pretty well attended. Wasn't absolutely packed, but there weren't many empty seats left. And this is like 5 days in. The movie was, I heard it made all its money on the first day, January. 4th of July. So it's doing pretty well. It's actually outperforming the Disney movie that they spent millions of dollars on. They were trying to revive Indiana Jones, which it's a pretty dumb idea. Just let that character die. But anyway, so The Sound of Freedom did very well at the box office and continues to do so, and I hope it continues. It's a movie that really must be seen. Stars Jim Caviezel, Mira Sorvino, and Bill Camp. Jim Caviezel portrays the real life hero, Tim Billard. Anyway, he's a former Homeland Security agent who was tasked to capture and arrest pedophiles. So he set up sting operations and caught them. And he did a great job of it. Oh, by the way, there will be no spoiler alerts here. I'm not going to give any part of the movie away. I'm not going to give away the main gist of the story. So you can listen to this and not worry about having to turn it off due to spoiler alerts. I want you to see this movie. That's why I encourage you to go see it. I just let the cat out of the bag right off the bat. Really worth seeing. There are no graphic scenes or anything like that. You could easily take a teenager if you feel mature enough. You take your grandparents or anyone in between. The movie really should be seen. Where was I? Yeah, so Tim Ballard, the Homeland Security agent, he had a pivot point in his life where he wasn't just satisfied with just going after pedophiles. He wanted to actually rescue children. Homeland Security could not, the Homeland Security Department could not back up on that. So with the blessing of his wife, who played by Mira Sorvino, they had 6 kids, by the way. And just as an aside, Mira Sorvino, ironically, left the industry because she refused to sleep with Harvey Weinstein, who's now in jail. So her career came to a screeching halt because she refused as a young woman to give in to this disgusting man who's in jail now. So there's a little irony that she's now playing the wife in a movie about sex trafficking of minors and children. So Tim Ballard wants to set up sting operations to help free children from the sex trade. He meets with this guy Vampro, who's played by Bill Camp. You might have seen him before in other movies. In fact, what I like about this is you'll see some familiar faces, people you haven't seen in a while, but they're seasoned actors and they do a really good job. But meets with with Vampro, who is in the business of buying. He arranges to buy these children and sets them free. He acts like he's a pedophile, and he goes in and gets as many as he can afford to get, and sets them free and returns them to the parents or wherever. So in his character, you find out what is the catalyst behind why he's doing what he did, and it's a very very good little side story there. Very believable character. Don't know if he's actually real or not, but like I said, it's based on a true story. Sometimes you take characters in a drama are really an amalgamation of several characters. That might have been the case of Vampro or not, but still very well done. The children, there are 2 child actors in this movie who are outstanding. Normally in movies that that are centered around children, they're usually hit or miss. Because, sometimes you have young kids that can't really act that well. It's not their fault. But that can, kind of mar the movie if it's a kid who can't act. That's not the case with these kids. They do a really good job. Crystal Aparicio plays the little girl, and Lucas Avila plays the little boy, her brother. They do such a good job. They go from regular innocent children to towards the end. You could see they look like battle weary adults almost who've seen too much darkness in the world, and they do a really, really good job of portraying that. And they represent millions of other kids, even though the movie can only concentrate on these two kids and some other kids as well. You have to keep in mind, this is just, the tip of the iceberg. They're just showing you they represent millions of other children who have, who've been forced into this terrible, terrible, dark lifestyle to satisfy the needs of the disgusting, vile pedophiles that are out there. The father, the guy who played their father, forgot his name, is an actor, did a really good job as well. It kind of hit me as a dad because I've had a moment when my kid was really young, my son. I lost track of him at an amusement park just for a few minutes. And that seemed to stretch out for hours in my head. This guy portrayed that so well, looking like the father was helpless and just worried sick over his children. One of the lines he said just really got to me was, "How could you sleep knowing that one of your children's bed is empty?" I never had a night where, again, when I lost track of my kid, it was just for 5 minutes, even it felt like for 5 days. I couldn't imagine looking at an empty bed where my child is supposed to be. Really, really good writing, really, really good acting. Highly recommend watching this. And that's as far as I go about the story. Lots of action, not an unrealistic amount, but again, the pacing's really good, acting's really good, writing's spot on. Definitely see this movie. If you just don't even want to support, I don't know why you wouldn't. If you think it's a right-wing thing, it's not. It's just a good movie. Again, a little hard to watch if you're a parent, but you need to watch it. So go out and check out this movie. What was odd was the movie actually was filmed and is ready to be released in 2019. Fox was going to release it, then they were purchased by Disney, and Disney sat on it for some weird reason. Sat on a movie about someone capturing and saving children from the sex trade. 5 years they sat on it. And then Angel Studios, I think they had a court order. They got Disney to sell it to them, and they released it, and here we are. Blockbuster movie as far as independent movies are concerned. And Disney stuck with egg on their face and some tired old Indiana Jones movie they're sitting on. Good for them. But you got to wonder why they let it sit for 5 years. But maybe there's a good reason, some cosmic reason why it didn't come out when it did. Because so much was going on in 2019, had all impeachment crap. I think this movie would have been buried and not really looked at all. It would have just come and gone so quickly. I think with all the things that we've seen from this government, open borders, the transgender movement, the family-friendly drag shows, the drag queen playtime, story time for children, this concentration on trying to sexualize children, I think this movie came out right on time in 2023. People's eyes are opening now, and I think this was the right time for this movie to come out. Not as Disney intended, maybe. This is how God intended it, because he's always on time. So what we might have thought was a bad thing that Disney sat on this movie, maybe God used it for good. The other thing is this is akin to slavery. The child sex trade is huge, and it's as disgusting as slavery has always been. One of the things you do realize in this movie is that people willingly sell their own people into bondage. They'll do it to the people closest to them. Slavery happens between neighboring tribes, not typically that someone goes on a boat, goes completely to the other side of the Atlantic, and goes into a country and snatches people out of their tribes. It's usually two tribes are fighting. This is how it was historically. Two neighboring tribes, one wins over the other, and they slave the other. That's what's happening in South America. You got adults just snatching children off the street because they're right there, and they just sell them to Europeans and Americans. And that's how it works. And that's how slavery has always been. It's been perpetrated by the people closest to you. It makes you, this movie really makes you aware of how dark the world really is. We don't know about darkness in this country. We have the luxury of ignoring it and thinking that mean tweets and microaggressions and systemic racism are the worst things that can happen. Again, that's a luxury compared to the life that other people lead around the world and the things they have to watch out for. The movie starts off with some grainy video. I don't know if it's real or it's not, but it looks pretty authentic, of children just being snatched off the street in broad daylight. Looks like some third world country, but it could be here in the United States. You never know. So that's pretty much my take on it. I really think this movie must be seen. Might not be easy to watch, but sometimes things that are good, things that you need to do, aren't easy. So don't take the easy way out. Go in this with your eyes wide open and keep them open after the movie's over, and you'll see life a little more differently and maybe take things a lot more seriously. Like our border, for instance. That's my take on this. What's yours? Like, share, comment, and subscribe.